Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Parker with USARK Florida, and I'm joined by my friend Jordan Spring. Lean in so they can see you, Jordan. And Marcus Cantos, all of you know him from the Turtle Source, but most importantly,
here, lean in there.
Executive Director of FWC, Roger Young, and we're so thrilled for you to be joining us.
Thank you. And it's not most importantly, I appreciate you saying that, but I just appreciate the partnerships and the communication that we're working on and developing and the continue to work on our issues that we have in common. And just appreciate the invite and opportunity to be on your podcast real quick.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I can see some people joining now. So we've had, I would say, a very positive meeting. We discussed pet amnesty earlier and items not on the agenda. We talked about some issues, and we'll get into those. We'll get into those a little more specifically and let you go. But you've been really great about talking to stakeholders, and we had good communication with all the commissioners also at this meeting, and I really feel like we're heading in a good direction. How are you feeling about this?
I would say the exact same thing. I think we had some great interaction with the commissioners. They're engaged on the topics that we're discussing, and that's exactly what these meetings are for. I know we've done a lot of communication about the issues that we're been working on together, and I just really appreciate your guys's your patience, as you get to know me in my new role as executive director. It's only been, I think, 3 months so far, but this was my second official commission meeting, and I think, I just really think we're working on some positive things and working in the right direction. And, and I just think we've got a great future ahead of us as we continue to work together and understand that, we're not always going to agree on certain things, and, we have to do what's right for the state of Florida. But we also have to protect the industry and do what's right for the industry as well. And we're trying to find that middle ground. And that's where I think that combined work, that conglomeration together is how we'll get there. So
Daniel, don't let Roger leave without him telling you a little bit about his impressions of the National Reptile Breeders Expo.
Oh yeah. So if you don't mind,
cool.
I'll just say, I really appreciate the invite to the expo. Had a great time, a lot of great, passionate people, and I was just really impressed by the range of people that were there in age. So impressed by the young. Not just the kids, I'm talking about young adults that are in the industry and in the business that are doing great things. And that's where I mentioned it in my executive director's report that, man, I see that's the future of the industry going forward. And I think it's so important that, we capture them as they're just getting into the industry to help, get aligned with, with the state and with the commission and where we're going. We can continue to work together. I think that's where you'll see a really bright future for the industry, and as we can work with the state of Florida and our interests as well. So I think there's a positive future there.
Did you expect the size of it before you got there?
No, I was a little taken back by the number of people at the expo. It was outstanding. I mean, there's a lot of people at the expo, and it was great to see. And I was pleasantly surprised and impressed by all the people that were there. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And that meant a lot to us, and it meant a lot to the people there. You talked to a lot of different reptile breeders at the expo, so it meant a lot to all of us that you were there.
It's all good. I enjoyed it.
But
really enjoyed it.
We'll let you go in just a second. Do you have anything to say to Director Young before we go, Jordan?
I'm actually really glad to see I'm a small business owner. I'm also on a board of a 501c rescue as of recently. And the communication that this director has had for somebody that's not a major role player. Yes, I voiced my opinions and I voiced my concerns and I try to bring solutions to problems that I bring. But the fact that this director has went out of his way and actually literally spoke to me at Breeders' Expo. I amended my proposal today, if anybody watched the commission meeting, to something he suggested. So I think he's really an awesome person. I'm glad to be working with this one. This is big improvement.
I appreciate that, but in retrospect for an entire situation, we're public servants, right? And that's what we do. We're here to serve the public, serve the citizens of the state of Florida, and that's my goal, and that's what I've spent my 28-year career with the agency doing, and that's what I plan on continuing doing as executive director. So. But I appreciate the opportunity to say hello.
But it takes a good person to step up, and even though you're in that position, to work broad with everybody, not just the big people that have all the big businesses, not just, to actually listen to the voices, and that is awesome. And showing up to Breeders' Expo, that's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Glad to see you're showing up and going to events, seeing what we do, and not just hearing it from us. And and I don't think I've ever seen a commissioner do it, but I've not been going to commission meeting just for a few years. But
We'll get one.
or
We'll get
even
it too.
executive.
Well, thank you
director.
so much.
Appreciate it.
I'm
Awesome.
gonna
Guys,
Hope to
thank
see
you so much
more.
for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you.
Roger, thanks.
great.
Thanks.
Let
so
me
much.
grab
We
your mic
appreciate
there.
you.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And thank you. And we'll keep going a little bit here.
It's executive director, commissioner. My bad.
Remember Lena and Jordan. We're still on. We're still on. But yeah, it was really a thrill to have Director Young join us. Probably the biggest issue for reptile keepers at this meeting that was actually on the agenda was the pet amnesty program. And we're supportive of the pet amnesty program. One thing that we did make some suggestions on how it could be improved, and also, you know, whether it's through FWC or through the FWC license holders, we want to be able to take in animals and make sure that unwanted animals don't get released into the wild. So we definitely offered some suggestions on that. We believe that license holders should be able to take animals from the public, and that's something we're going to continue to push for and make that a very smooth process so that people can go through the FWC amnesty program. But perhaps if they're uncomfortable with that, or just to make it as easy as possible, they can drop these animals off with a license holder that is qualified to deal with them.
That would portray to class 1, class 2, because class 3 they can drop off at rescues.
And-
Prohibited conditional, those would be the
And I think
Sure.
it's really important to point out that, you know, we bring these issues up. We've been bringing them up for years and years now. And it's always like, sure, we hear you, get out of here, kid, you bother me. And Roger Young, his staff, even the commissioners at this meeting listened to everything we said. They weighed in on it, not only repeating it back to us, but they wanted to find ways to make the suggestions happen. And they wanted to make sure the staff got with us. And this is a complete turnaround from where we were just a year ago. This is an FWC that has completely changed its complexion, its approach to us, and is beginning to renew that decades-old partnership we used to have with them. And it's so critical for all the hobbyists and all the industry. Really appreciate that from Director Young and the commissioners.
Absolutely. Now let's, one thing that both Jordan and I spoke on, an issue specifically that we really think needs attention is iguanas in Florida. And Jordan, you deal with iguanas. I've dealt with iguanas before, but currently with iguanas being prohibited species, it's actually become very difficult for collectors to collect them out of the wild and for them to be sold and shipped out of state. And we believe that around 1 million or more iguanas, these are wild Florida iguanas, before the prohibited species regulations were passed, were being captured out of the wild and shipped out of state. But that is mostly ceased. Now, Jordan is actually one of the only licensed individuals to collect iguanas out of the wild. But even you recognize that there's a lot of red tape that makes that difficult for people to participate in. You want to elaborate on that?
So one of the biggest red tape issues is in the current rules, they do have to be separated if they are babies, which is kind of counterproductive.
So babies housed individually then?
Yes, all of them have to be housed individually till they can be sexed. That's a little bit.
So they don't breed?
Yep. So that's a little bit detrimental when you're talking about baby iguanas. I did pull up a few scientific documents, and I have some other people I'm working with that there's the 5-inch rule. So 5 inches snout to vent length is what's required to be chipped. Anything under, if you can chip it, I wouldn't. The microchips are too small. The legs are too small in the iguanas. So with that being said, if it's not chipped, you can't ship it out of state. So babies are the smallest baby that I've captured was 2 1/4, up to 3 inches snout to vent length, and they're little. I took a photo of one next to a mini microchip, a 7 by 1.25, which is a mini vet microchip, and it's too small to chip. So I'm stuck with that iguana until it reaches 5 inches snout to vent length, of which I can chip it. Now,
I think it's important to point out here that primarily what the market demands is baby
Is
iguanas.
babies.
So the bigger they get, the harder they actually become to sell. But if we're not able to ship them when they're babies, well, that's kind of ruining part of the market there. And we have actually iguanas being imported, more iguanas being imported out of El Salvador and other areas to become pets in countries they're native to, rather than them just coming out of the wild in Florida. So anything that cuts that red tape is something that we should be looking at. And let's get those big dealers selling iguanas again.
Yeah, there are large distributors now who can help with that process to get them out of the state. And all we need to do is for FWC to figure out what they need to do paperwork wise and
Agree with my
legal wise
proposal.
to make it happen. And it can start in 3 days.
Agree with that
We're ready to
proposal.
go right away. By the end of the week, stuff will be leaving the state properly, legally, and conservationally, if that's a word. And that's so important. And we just got to have it start.
And we actually did submit a proposal today, or at least I did. Daniel helped me work on it last year or year before, and it kind of got thrown on the back burner and never noticed. Today, it actually got a little bit of recognition from not only the chairman, but the executive director and a few of the staff. So it would alleviate the microchip rule, hoping that goes through, and it would alleviate the 2018-19 clause and allow more people to apply for the permits to be able to remove them to help with this issue, because most people hunting them are only dealing with the larger iguanas. They're not dealing with the smaller ones. There's no.
And you're
trophy.
by hunting, you're talking about hunting to kill,
If
right?
they're hunting to kill, the only ones they're messing with are adults and subadults, mostly adults, because there's no trophy in a baby iguana and there's no meat on a baby iguana. They're worthless to people hunting them.
Well, we're gonna start to wrap it up here. I apologize, those of you watching live right now. I know you're asking questions and stuff, and we have to get us all in the shot. The phone is like farther away than I can see all of this, and we don't have a cameraman today. So our designated camera guy is out of town. But so if you have a question or a comment when this video is posted, put it underneath, and we'll definitely answer your questions. But just to summarize, we're really pleased at the direction that we're going in with FWC. I know a lot of you look, we've all seen what has happened with FWC, and some bad things have happened for our industry and for our individual keepers. But ultimately, our goal, USARK Florida's goal, is to get the best possible deal for reptile keepers and the animals themselves here in Florida. And to do that, we have to work with the agencies that regulate us. And it seems like we have partners now in this agency who are willing to do that. And it took the work of everybody to get to this point.
For 4 years.
There's
Uh,
so
years
much
it took,
conservation that could be done if
Yeah.
we work together.
And
USARK board, everybody worked so hard for so many years.
People showing up.
So we thank everybody who's been involved in that process. And I should say here again, if you're not a member of USARK Florida, you really need to be. That we still have a free membership, but we're probably going to be ending that soon to continue doing what we do. Unfortunately, we hate to say it, but it costs money. And if everybody chipped in a little bit, we could really do wonders to help protect reptile keepers and really all the pet keepers and animal keepers in
I
Florida.
think your cheap one was only like $3 a month.
Yeah, it's not that much. If we had a bunch of people give $3 a month, that would make a huge difference.
That's a good membership.
Yeah. So
Well, and also pet keepers of fish and birds and small mammals, don't think you're immune. You know, everybody was in their sights a year ago. And now it's not that way, mostly because we spoke out and made a difference. And a lot of their people have privately said, because you guys just kept pushing on every level, even to the governor's office, that things are turning around. And we've been coached by other friends in Tallahassee. Just keep pushing them to do the right thing.
And we have unified with those other industries
Yeah.
you've talked about. We present a unified front with the aquaculturists, the tropical fish industry. We have some great friends who are mammal keepers and the bird industry. So we're all working together on this, and these issues affect all of us. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'll let you go. It's been great seeing you, but overall a very encouraging FWC meeting. I'll let you go.